already, as we are wasting no time, Valdez. We had a great opening ceremony. Caster John was as hype as always, and this crowd loved it, but we're going straight into the draft.
Yeah, I mean, you were talking about how much it means to the fans here. The first LCK Cup to be held in Hong Kong, and the first road show here as well. It's pretty huge. I think they really appreciated seeing Caster Judd in person doing that awesome intro. It was really great stuff. As we are getting into the bans already, nothing out of the ordinary here except, you know, an early ban here on Renekton, which we are going to see against Clear.
Yeah, that's not a shock. See the Orion and Rumble here as well for BNK. Two strong picks in isolation for first pick on blue side that D+ do have in their possession, so not shocking. The Varus is another question mark in this draft here that we could see as the Vi and Pantheon are taken away by D+ Kia. Varus has not had the success that his draft priority in bans has, I think, made you assume that he would do in terms of his performances here in playoffs. And they'll ban the Ambessa instead, which is such a strong flex pick here for D+ Kia, and one that they often pick first when left available. So the Varus is up and available if they want to first pick it. There's something else on their mind here. A bit of a meta shift could have happened behind the scenes. And we'll see what their read is. The Azir, obviously the obvious one, was discussed a lot. This pick might be a little bit bait right now because it is simply not finding the success that we expected. And as a result, they will give Diablo the Varus over, and they'll have counter pick for Vikla here in the mid lane. They can also look for a prio jungle pick as well, like the Jarvan or the Xin Zhao.
Yeah, definitely still a lot of options. I think you're giving a lot of trust over to Showmaker just to pick him that Azir and hope that he can have a big impact on that. Very curious to see what goes with the Azir over to Lucid. As Varus gets locked in, not a big surprise, and Jarvan is going to come in here.
One of the best answers so far, one of the most common answers, let's say, to the Varus has been the Sivir pick, but picking Sivir into the Jarvan feels really, really rough because of her immobility. And so they will just take this right away and deny that counter pick in the bottom lane. It would be incredibly unusual for Smash to be bold enough to play it here. The Xin Zhao, in terms of tier, was the next on the list, and that will come in here, as well as Smash's classic Ezreal pick. Very safe into the Jarvan, a pick that has done a lot better into Varus more recently than it did in the past. As Taliyah was something I was considering when they gave over the Azir here. It has not been a pick that in the LCK we found consistent success with here, but the higher you go in terms of teams, and we are now in our top 3, the performances get stronger. I think Vikla has proven that he's no longer just the solo lane guy, no longer just the pick guy, the hands guy, but he has the macro to back it up this season, and I do think that playing through sides through this Taliyah absolutely can work.
Yeah, definitely a bit of an X factor through Vikla. It was really awesome to see him performing on the TF in their win against Genji in that one game. Certainly does feel like he's expanded his pool, and he's not just playing Morgana mid anymore. We've really gone beyond that for this player, and could have a big impact here. As we're going into the support bans, Leona and Nautilus.
Point click to deny the R press onto Smash makes a lot of sense with this Ezreal that he's picked up. The Leona pairs incredibly well with Ezreal, is very safe in the lane, so it's no shock to see that one taken away. Now Karma could be a consideration here, but they don't really have consistent engage at all if they do lock that in, so I think it's a heavy risk and would only really bail you out of the lane. I don't think it's a great ban. They will opt away from it here and take out the Gwen, which is a big side lane threat on top of the Azir. That would give them double side lane threats, so that Taliyah can only really answer one. So I think that's a smart ban here towards Xiu. A lot of other strong top lane picks are still available, however. See what this final ban will be here. Taking away the Rek'Sai.
Yeah, Rek'Sai kind of a keen specialty, although we do see it from time to time from other players, but definitely very popular at the beginning of LCK Cup. So now you got to decide what your support probably is going to be and then wait for top counter pick here. So what is the Varus going to be going with in the bottom lane?
Well, there's a lot of different picks they could opt for. Even something like a Bard would kind of crush. And I think with this Karma pick, you have a lot more agency because you still have the Taliyah, you still have the Jarvan setup, and you have Chains of Corruption to lead into a shove. Flag Drag could lead into Chains. You know, there's a lot of synergy between these three. The Karma giving you additional speed feels nice, but also it's just going to mean that there is really no pick that Career can lock in here that will give them bottom side prio. And so what does he do? Does he opt to just sit back and defend with something like a Yuumi? I guess that's the answer.
Yep.
It did not work for him very well last time, but we'll see if this is a different look as the blind Scion comes through.
This team doesn't really have engage. I mean, it's got very nice front to back, but starting a fight will not be up to them.
Ooh, and the Gnar here feels like a cherry on top. It's one of Clear's best picks, and it is one that will dominate the Scion lane. You already have the winning bottom lane and mid lane with jungle attention. That's going to be so easy to pull off with Jarvan pre-6. You have so much power with the Taliyah. You have a side lane threat in this Taliyah that can match sides as well and punish sides and try to pinch onto the Azir. And the Scion will never really be a threat, will always be pushed out by the Gnar. So if the lane assignments are strong here for B&K and Smash doesn't get off the ground early, for D+, you are just simply going to have to hope that when you get to that late game, you're not behind, your scaling items are going to hit, your Ezreal's going to hit 2 items, your Azir's going to hit 2 items, and then Smash is going to hit every single Q in every single fight. And Smash, you know what? Luckily for them, is pretty well known for doing that. So there's a lot of trust in this draft for CVMAX to his AD carry, and we're going to be seeing a lot of that throughout this best of 5 tonight with Diablo and Smash here on the stage. As you can see, this arena is fully packed.
It is so insanely full. Like, I don't know how it's coming across on the stream, to be honest, because I don't have it open in front of me, but being here, it looks like every single chair is full. It's actually incredible. Insane stuff. But yeah, this is going to be a very interesting first game. I think if TK can get off the ground, obviously they have a lot of power in their carries, but starting engages can be pretty difficult, and I think B&K have a lot of control with this composition. We are here for the lower finals in Hong Kong. Game 1 will start right now. And Wolf, because we're in Hong Kong, we don't have the Hanadur set.
There were a few people who tried.
There were some, yeah.
There were some knowers. I think that a lot of people know, but obviously with this many people here, it's hard to coordinate who's going to start that.
Yeah.
It's actually still ongoing. In fact, I see a lot of people doing it. Or hear a lot of people doing it, rather.
Yeah. They're trying, you know, it's good.
I am
good effort.
Incredibly hyped to see Career with a redemption opportunity here on this Yuumi, because this pick can really shape this lane. If you can absorb a lot of the damage with your shield, offer a little bit of poke, way less than you used to be able to do, like Career is doing now. But manage, obviously with no engaged support on the other side, it's difficult to be punished. In this matchup, you can basically trade your health bar for a meager amount of damage and then constantly attach and make sure that Smash has the most health possible to go toe-to-toe in the lane. And we'll use his barrier here, but I think wise to absorb that empowered Q. And this is a great start here for Smash and Career.
Yeah, I mean, they have to have some semblance of control in the bottom lane. Otherwise, Varus Karma can easily get ahead and be quite annoying. You see that neither side is going to be able to hit level 2 significantly ahead of the other and bully them out of the lane. So just, you know, double range. A lot of enchanters nowadays in the meta, especially when one enchanter gets picked, the other kind of has to match it. Otherwise, you just fall too far behind. That's really something they could not risk, especially with a draft like this. And
eyes on it, you can see eventually, you know, Diablo and Kellen are going to be able to take this health advantage. Barrier already burned, so every single Q that Kellen hits like this wears you down. And with the minion wave blocking the Mystic shots, it's very difficult to actually continue to put that harass in. But they're trying their best, as you can see here. We do have both junglers pathing towards the bottom side of the map, shockingly. And that means I'm bringing the sarcasm out early about this.
I like it. Game 1. Here we go. They're going to the bot lane again. Who could have seen this coming? Yeah, it's just the way it is. Nice dodge there on the Mantra Q.
Their Career will shield it anyways, but it's going to be this wave crashing. And finally, Diablo and Kellen get the wave to crash through as this lane is supposed to do. But it's a dead even setup here in terms of CS. In fact, it will be a slight lead going to Smash. So again, I think this pick is working its intended role. And again, the game plan here for D+ is Smash will carry. He will have a Yuumi on his back. He will hit every ability. He will get his endless hunger.
Yeah,
and
has
he
a
will
big
just,
front line.
He just is going to straight up like have to 1v9 with Showmaker having some peel for him, a little bit of additional damage, obviously, but he is the guy.
Yeah. I thought maybe they were just going to slam the Lulu. I know Ezreal Lulu's kind of a weird lane, but the Lulu with the Xin Zhao, really fantastic and kind of fulfills a similar role of, you know, having that enchanter for the team fights a little bit later on. But yeah, it's pretty nice to see the resurgence of Yuumi, although some people will not enjoy that all too much.
It's been a while. They can get over it.
Yeah.
You know? It's a little niche.
I think, you know, if you're hated as a champion for so long, you know, you deserve another shot, right? Yeah. Deserve a chance back.
Every champion deserves a second chance.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll see this.
Same with career as well, because his last Yuumi game, we always talk about it. He's had a very tumultuous LCK Cup.
Yes, I mean, the player has had, obviously, a lot of expectations put on his shoulders early, because he is Smash's AD carry, one of the most hype AD carries to join since Pays, frankly, and Viper rejoining the LCK. And he is laning into a lot of really incredible supports that we have here at the LCK. He's one of the newer ones, even though he spent a lot of time in Challenger, spent some time on DRX as well as BNK was mentioned before. And then he played in Kespa Cup and like made a lot of errors there and made the wrong runes. He's just been through a lot very quickly. And now he's like potentially going to, in his first year of LCK, go to first stand before LCK even starts.
Yeah. It's absolutely insane if he can manage that. You see that Raptor is getting very aggressive, and this is kind of what he has to do. You got a winning lane in top. You have Vikla doing pretty well into Showmaker, and then of course bot's going to push. So you have to use this priority and get ahead of your enemy jungler and try to get your lanes ahead. Although there's not a ton of, you know, ganks that are going to be set up unless Showmaker really oversteps. But still, if you can't find a gank, you got to pressure the enemy jungler. You got to pressure for those objectives.
This timing, though, could be quite strong for Lucid.
Yeah. See if this works out. Raptor is on the bottom side of the map, though, and a ward comes down in vision, so they see him. And nothing much going to happen there. But certainly going to be a lot of pressure on this first Drake.
A lot of time spent, actually, and he's just simply going to back. This means Raptor will get their first dragon. With the prio they still hold, and this is really unfortunate for D+. If they could have been able to deny this or look for a gank, grab some summoners, there's a lot more wiggle room in terms of what you could do here, but instead it's just going to be the expected result, as you mentioned, with the control that Raptor has in his lane prio. So far up here on the top side, Shio's doing a pretty good job of keeping the CS at least, you know, decently even considering the matchup.
Yeah. Thinking for a play here on Vikla, who just does not flash the shove. Now he's going to flash, but I don't know about that. Jarvan coming over, but way too late. First blood given over to Showmaker.
Yeah, a bit of a great timing there for Lucid to come in with Vikla's positioning. He went ghost, obviously, so this is really going to hurt. Dying like this, can surf back. I don't think he's going to Weaver's well back to lane, but I guess it's an option. But the choice to flash there, I think, is the most painful of all, because Raptor was somewhat nearby and is quite mobile on Jarvan and did have his Cataclysm, so maybe there's a miscommunication. Like, you know, we see Raptor maybe call out, or you can imagine maybe Raptor is calling out, like, I'm relatively nearby if you can buy just a little bit of time. But as you can see on the minimap here, he's just finishing the dragon. He is, in fact, quite far away and cannot assist. The last Sand Soldier is going to come up and take him out. So Vikla now down flash, vulnerable for a follow-up gank as well.
I mean, this is the issue when you play into Azir. It's kind of the Azir tax if you're in a mobile mage. You just kind of have to flash the shove if you're not 100% sure that you can win the fight. And, you know, if Lucid's ever there, you just die. And that is exactly what happened. So, gotta maybe Vikla trying to be a little bit greedy in the beginning of this match. You can see a lot of damage did go back on a Vikla from Showmaker. And, a lot of Showmaker fans here, as you were mentioning.
Yeah,
just from 2020, he's been around forever, obviously.
He is the king of this arena right now, and no question in my mind.
Yeah.
He got the loudest cheer in walkouts as well, as he is going to get a little bit of damage put onto him by Kellen coming over there, but nothing too impactful. Smash is Ezreal, so does not care about that leash.
Yeah.
And Smash is doing the thing. He's doing the thing, Valdez, where he hits everything and does a lot of damage.
Notice how Smash, he's not 100%. That Raptor isn't there, so he just flashes away from the tether, and yeah, it feels painful, but he did a big chunk to Kellen for that, essentially, and it gives him some time to put on some pressure in this lane, so it's not all bad. Obviously, losing your flash is not great, but it's that amount of respect that you have to show for the enemy jungler that we didn't see from Vikla.
On first glance, I thought it was just a shift there. I didn't even realize it was flash immediately until you mentioned that. It's actually
I think he shifted in and then he got tethered and then he was like,
I think you're right. And that is not ideal, but that is also not surprising for those of us who have been watching Smash. Diablo's like, I would have done the same thing.
280 carries handshake across the rift. Lucid going to be spotted here. We got a wall coming in. Lucid in a bit of trouble. Kellen here first as well. There's just nowhere for Lucid to go. And the chains going to land here onto the Ezreal. Flash damage comes in from Smash. And now Smash, no flash. He's just dead. Nowhere to go. And you see that career trying to back, but there's no way they're going to let him go. And the second they got the Ezreal, the Yuumi is always just going to be tacked on. And eventually, Vikla takes him down. So 3 kills go the way of BNK on the bottom side of the map.
Showmaker opts not to TP down. He TPs back to lane and is going to get some plate gold in return here with the Crystalline Overgrowth, the proc. It's really just one he gets, though. Talia can get back to lane relatively quickly. And this is on vision, unfortunately for Lucid. He has a control ward to the right there, so probably thought he was okay, thought he was unseen. Doesn't have flash, unable to get over the wall. And then down here, Kellen flashes forward as well to guarantee the root, which gives the follow-up here for Raptor. And then as you say, when you get one with the Yuumi, you get two. As Showmaker makes the call to TP mid and try to get something back there, knowing that Vikla's at least spending a decent amount of time down here. But this is a huge win for BNK.
Yeah, it's pretty gigantic, and it's really funny. Well, not for for Smash rather, but that we were just talking about the flash that Smash did in the trade, and it comes back to bite him big time. If he's able to flash the chains and stay alive with the Yuumi on his back, I think it will be at least more difficult to get the kills underneath the turret. Instead, it's just kind of a freebie here for the side of BNK. And now that's, 1,500 gold in the lead already, right
also,
after Showmaker picked up first blood.
Notice the item difference here. The Varus picks up the Ghost Blade already, and it's a cheap item, but with this even small of a gold lead that he has, which is starting to become quite large, he can end up getting a big item lead here, and that shield that Career's trying to put on here just doesn't feel that great when this Varus is charging up these arrows and tossing them into you. As you can see here, Smash is going to shift this one. But may even cost them an additional farm here as they are looking for more.
Oh, the max range chain! Smash is dead again! And Career, we just said it before, he is absolutely dead. They're just trying to give the kill over to Diablo, but the arrow at least misses. And a double kill goes to Raptor. We got a TP coming in, though.
Yeah, this is a very greedy choice. Lucid's coming over as well. I don't know if they get anything from this. It's a bit slow.
Yeah, just a little bit slow. And, well, he's going to ult into the wall, and maybe with the smash on Kellen, they will get him, so they at least get the support. But now Clear wins.
Clear doesn't actually even need to use his TP. He's getting so much gold here. I think it's absolutely not worth it. At least you got something. You have to make something of that situation, but bit of a disaster. As
got the dragon at least.
That dragon will go over as Raptor, had to go back there. So that makes it a little bit better. And that will tie us up one apiece in terms of dragons, but the execution of this was incredibly risky. If Kellen gets away there, it's even worse. He did not have flash, but this Gnar is going to be a bigger problem. This Varus is already a massive problem, and yeah, he picks up Swifties here. He is going to be looking for the same 2-item spike that Ezreal has, but obviously he's massively accelerated in his first item.
Look at how far behind Smash is in the quest, actually. I mean, he's like 75% done. BNK's 80 carry Diablo, he just finished that. So.
Not to mention, he also just went to the top lane to clean up the mess from the bailout that she had to go for there on the bottom side, so he's not getting that really important experience or quest experience that he needs. And so that is really unfortunate for him, because the longer you spend without your quest completed as the AD carry, the less money you're generating from anything, but specifically minions as well, really starts to add up how much you can get as Showmaker looks to shove.
Trying for it. Remember, Diablo does not have his flash. Shutdown goes in. Showmaker gets away from the Jarvan for now, but Raptor comes in. Vikla's here as well. Big shove onto the two of them. And Career not able to get on in there onto Lucid, as Lucid going kind of crazy mode right now. Is going to have the cat on his back as well, but eventually does go down. And Career this time will waddle away.
I think it's worth there to get the last kill, and Career gets away this time. So as you mentioned, I think it ends up being fine. I think that was the right call to go back in on that one, but initially looked a lot better for D+ than it ended up being at the end of the day. So I don't think that Raptor has the flag to interrupt the back here from Career a second time, but going to this play here, it's a great choice to go on to Diablo, because as you mentioned, they know he doesn't have flash. Shuffle comes through. But Vikla actually, look at the angle he takes from the bottom lane. It's one that I don't think D+ really expected. And the Cataclysm comes through, buys just enough time, and then this shove is phenomenal. Career cannot rejoin for a while. And Lucid's like, all right, well, I'm just going to send it here. Goes for the play, forces Vikla's flash, and then goes in deeper. Career detaches early to get out, so he survives this time around. I think they made the best they could out of a terrible situation there. Initially looked great, but Vikla saves the play.
Yeah, definitely a bit of a save from him. You know, I was talking about how I expected a lot from him, especially in terms of champion pool in this series, as he has been showing nowadays. Obviously did have the bit of a whoopsie by not flashing the divide earlier on in the game, but he's going to be a big difference maker. Absolutely. Somebody has to match Showmaker, and obviously the guy on the other side of the Rift in the same role will be the first guy you look to.
Money that Kellen has is not negligible because he has about a Oblivion Orb extra worth of gold over his opponent, and that's actually really important. Playing into Yuumi is actually going to feel really nice for him to have that. And he can proc it very easily as Vikla? No way, right?
Yeah, yes way. Delia really very much struggling into the Scion, and shove is going to miss. He gets axed down by Scion. Shiu with the solo kill on a Vikla. And that's whoopsie number 2, Wolf.
There's a big chance erupting here after that one. Bit of a mix-up, mess up, bit of a whoopsie. You know, you said it already. Not much else to say about that one. That one is not supposed to happen. But a good punish from Shiu, who doesn't even need to use his summoner to secure the kill there. So, yeah. It's certainly going to take a little bit of the wind out of BNK Sails. They're still in a favorable position in this game, no doubt. Showmaker's going to get pushed away here. The Dragon is up in 90 seconds. It is the Hextech Soul, so an incredibly valuable Dragon. Whoever does end up pulling ahead on this one, but Herald is topside. It is live first. We have this group up faster for BNK. And we will just, after the caster curse, shame Vikla here a little bit. He hits the slow, and then instantly Shiu is just like, I ult you. Yeah. Man, Vikla should have just spaced a little bit better here. And unfortunately, the shove misses, and he still commits the Ghost, hoping that it was going to hit, and that would have bought him enough space. It does not.
Yeah.
So he's also down Ghost as well.
I mean, Scion, you just got to respect him. Like, he does look like he would kind of be just a punching bag, but I think especially a lot of mid laners, you know, they don't have a lot of experience playing in a Scion, so that will happen where it's like, oh, he can't do anything to me. I'm just going to harass him under turret, and then all of a sudden, you know, especially without your flash. Like, if you can flash the ult, then sure. You can put on the pressure. That was not the case.
So clear as, hold on, our thoughts on this one is we may have a bit of a fight here.
Trying to burst him in the bush. Because the Herald's up and the Dragon's coming up. You can see that BNK are really trying to control the vision there.
Does have this teleport advantage here in the side lane as well as a wave pushing, so he could join if he wants to. He's going to back right now, which makes this a bit of a timer that BNK are on to secure this quickly. Back is spotted though, so I think they feel pretty confident they can take this. Even stopping the back is pretty massive. If they get Herald and then can contest for this Dragon, it is a double win here for BNK, especially again considering that Vikla did not have TP. Does have his Weaver's Wall available, and they're set up on vision. Look at the vision for BNK. All those red wards around the Drake Pit and the entry, and even around both sides of the Raptor camp. They are going to have full information here. TP for Diablo gets him back to the mid lane. They secure the Herald, and they should be able to also grab Dragon.
Yeah. I think for D+ Kia, you kind of have to respect BNK's strength right now, you know, especially before your Azir and Ezreal are online. And they don't have vision, they don't have control, they've fallen behind in this game. I feel like that's all kind of expected, and I think the right call is to kind of just let at least one Drake go over. Maybe you let a second one go over. Lucid is here, though, and they do want to fight this, actually, kind of. As Showmaker's not here, this is going to be secured by Raptor, and Lucid, he's going to be walked into the pit. Now he doesn't have his flash. We got TP coming in, as DK are like, who cares about item spikes? We want to fight right now. And they don't even have a jungler anymore. Lucid about to go down. There he goes. As Smash as well being slowed up. There's the big ult into the wall. Catches 2 and make it 3 with the Yuumi. They take down Smash. And that's about all they're going to get as DK just waddle away as well.
There's been so much of this game that has been played by D+, almost as if, you know, it's the Wadid principle, you know, playing not to lose, like, or playing really like as if you have already lost. In committing to this fight, going for the Hail Marys, another Hail Mary in a series of
Didn't have
them.
to do that.
And like, in this fight, in this scenario, you don't have any control. You have to know that the Gnar has TP. He's going to be able to join at a moment's notice. Both top laners waiting for the judgment call, right, as the TPs come through. The positioning of the TP here for Xiu isn't even really favorable. Clear has Mega Gnar. He's charged it at the correct time. And D+ committing to this fight. You're locked in. Like, there's a Talia there. The Gnar bar is still set. He ends up having a massive Gnar as they go over the wall here. And the Yuumi shielding is not enough to win you this fight. You don't have the skirmishing power here anymore. And I think they thought they were at a closer game state than they were, hoping that maybe the Varus wasn't going to be able to do enough long-term damage and that then the Ezreal would carry. The Ezreal doesn't have 2 items, like you said. And that was a bit of a flop for D+. It might have cost them the end of this game. Like, there was still an in, but now there's not.
Absolutely does feel that way, Wolf, as they're trying to punish Clear here. Might just be able to. No flash on him, and that will be a kill. A shutdown going over to Showmaker. We got a big push in mid, though, as BNK looking to get a bunch back. They're also going to get some turret plates in top lane and really try to solidify this lead.
Yeah, it's a kill. That's the win that you're getting. It's a kill for no kills, but in terms of the gold, not really being the win I think D+ were hoping for. Plus, that was Showmaker committing his teleport for it because there's no pressure anywhere else. Vikla can get that plate there topside and then back to defend this turret. If Showmaker got the kill with this TP gank and they were able to get the whole turret, you'd feel a little bit differently about this. As this is just really aggressive play from Lucid, and I think he's the one who makes the call to Showmaker. Like, I think we can actually kill this guy. His Gnar is fading. And they do get the kill, but they can't really get much else here, as there were a ton of pings from Vikla saying, I'm grabbing his plate for the return. And so as you can see, the gold lead really hasn't changed despite that pick.
Yeah, it's very similar to what we were seeing before, which was like 4.4K. And yeah, I mean, essentially the best part of it for DK, if there is a best part, is that you give a bunch of money over to one of your main carries in Showmaker and hope that he can, you know, get a little bit of a snowball going himself and maybe carry a little bit later on, which is why I expected them to just give the Drake up instead of fighting the last time, but maybe the pressure getting to them, as they could have easily waited for the Azir to be more online with this Ezreal, who has now completed 2 items, but is 0 and 3. Vikla is, you know, he's really embracing the chaos today, Wolf. Yeah. I don't know what has gotten into him, but he's very excited to be here in Hong Kong.
It's classic Vikla. As we're gonna have to check the best friend indicator for Yuumi with how much time his career has spent with Lucid in this mid game as well, which I do think is correct given the game state. Give Lucid more agency. He's on 2 items. The Ezreal has only just now gotten 2 items, but it's just so irrelevant compared to Diablo. I think trying to put the Yuumi on the Xin Zhao and say, let's see what we can find. Let's see if we can force some unfavorable positions here for BNK could be the way. But yeah, the lead here in the bottom lane cannot be overstated right now. And for BNK, as long as you don't make an error, BNK fans are looking at you, Vikla. We should be able to see them control this next dragon to go up to Soul Point.
Yeah.
The fact that Vikla doesn't have TP means he needs to kind of stick around, as it's like he's just going to assume that this Scion is gone, and there is just going to be, that's going to be accurate, and they're going to get this wave pushed in.
Smash has been stopped on a back twice now.
Yeah, this is rough.
And he doesn't have any money. I mean, he might just die. He has to barrier. And if you give Diablo this much of a lead, he will take over your game and make it all about him.
He's upset that he's not playing the Ezreal, but I guess he'll just take the Ezreal away.
Yeah.
And finally, the cooldown boots do come through here for Smash. Has been starved of money, but he really wants that 3rd item so desperately. And in this game state, I don't even know if he prefers going for Shojin or the Endless Hunger. It's not a comfortable place to be, and he has no money. And BNK are looking to TP here to mid with Diablo, who picks up his 3rd item, as they are looking for Soul Point, and I just don't think D+ should be anywhere near this.
Nice dodging here from Lucid, as Vikla, once again, he is putting his face in it, has to flash away. We got a Scion going in. Kellen just going to flash out of the way, and that means that Vikla and Diablo are in big trouble, as the Scion is behind them. They do take down Lucid, though, and now the Scion alone is not able to do too much. Smash being bullied in the front line, gets taken out, and the damage and the wallets are too big for the side of BNK. Bait them into the fight, as Vikla says, I got him this time.
The draft here for D+ certainly had its ins. It certainly had the ability to scale and maybe smash the 1v9 angle. That dream could have been real if they didn't fall behind with really little prio in this game with the draft they had. And from behind, when your engage is Xin Zhao with Yuumi and hoping for the best, or perhaps a crazy Scion flank, that at this lead, this deficit for D+, there just isn't a whole lot of agency for you with this composition, and you're hoping this game goes 40 minutes plus if you're going to have any chance of getting back in. And this isn't even the cleanest start here for BNK in this fight. Raptor is so far away. Vikla has to flash, and they have the Scion coming through. But it's not an even game state. Lucid loses most of his health here, and Smash has to play aggressively to get anything done. That's a numbers game they just simply aren't going to win. Like, he's just hitting a Xin Zhao here. The rest of the team can group up, and Diablo, his health is low, but he's got such high range that he can follow up so easily to shoves like this from Vikla. The lead is just too much.
Yeah, it really is, and, you know, this is probably the worst soul that DK could be facing right now. When you got Talia and Varus, I mean, it's really ridiculous. Even the flag and the karma, like, if BNK get the soul, I mean, the game is essentially over at this point with the 9,000 gold lead for BNK and the comp they have. But as you mentioned, maybe if we go another 15 minutes, we could make something of it. But instead, it's just going to be Xiu going down.
Xiu trying to make a big play, but sadly will just come up empty-handed. I think they know. They have been playing as if, in some ways, that this game was only desperate attempts. Like, that's the only way back in, which I think is a pretty accurate assessment. It doesn't feel great when they don't work. But I think they're thinking more about game number 2 right now, Valdez.
Yeah. Not the closest one to start this one off, but I think we had an inkling when we saw the draft and then saw the way the beginning of the game did play out. And I think DK is definitely going to have to go back to the drawing board. They showed some signs of life in this game, but very quickly after that, it fell very quickly in favor of BNK. 11,000 gold here, the lead for BNK. Showmaker has farmed an incredible amount, does have a 20 CS lead over Vikla. He has the smallest gold deficit, and that will decrease as he grabs his bounty on the turret. But what does that necessarily mean? What does that translate to in this game where he will just be burst down by so many different threats? The Gnar is really unanswerable by the Scion insides. And Smash, you know, we talked about that 3 items he wants real bad. He's 0 and 4, and he grabs a longsword on his most recent back. He is so far away from anything, as he's, I guess you could say, happy to see these safe minion waves to farm with the super waves coming through. That's the only good news. Scaling opportunity, playing into waves that constantly crash and give extra money. But our teams here at the LCK are some of the best in the world, and they're very good at punishing moments like this. So would imagine that BNK can just group up in top, use the last of their Red Bull Baron power play, and then probably group up for that final Drake and try to end it there. It's still relatively early, right? It's only 26 minutes in. So they're really trying to get as much out of this as possible. The very, you know, the dregs of the Red Bull Baron power play come in. They're going to utilize as much of that as possible to try to hit this turret. As Lucid is going to go, stacks up the Q. Vikla just flashes away. The Raptor goes very hardcore into that backline, immediately just dies. But look at Clear bouncing in the backline, takes them out. As BNK, Fear X, no fear. They dive the turrets, and they get a lot out of it. They didn't necessarily have to do that, but you know what? They're going to get the tower for their troubles.
Yeah, when Xiu falls here, they should be able to actually chip away and take out this inhibitor as well, which would be the 3rd and final, which would guarantee that dragon is all. But, I mean, I cannot even imagine a world where if BNK took their hands off the keyboard, D+ could get the dragon with 3 inhibitors down. They don't need to end here, but that is enough. And yes, the execution of that could have been a lot cleaner from BNK. They could have been a lot more patient. They could have waited for an additional wave. As it's heroics from D+. Like, we can be honest about that. The situation here is very aggressive from Lucid. BNK played this slow, then they put a lot of damage into Lucid. He actually gets so much value here because of it, and Showmaker goes low, and then everyone's just deciding, okay, we got to all in on Showmaker. Showmaker just has a great flash here, grabs the kill. The crowd goes wild when Showmaker survives here.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it's not really going to be enough to turn the tides as D+ stave off the pressure to some extent with that aggressive play from Lucid. They buy themselves an extra lease on life, but there's still 3 inhibitors down here at 27.5 minutes.
Yeah, now they're trying to make a play on a Showmaker, at least Vikla is, as the wall bounces him into the shove. Very cute play, but Showmaker is Azir and just kind of brushes it off.
Don't know if Dragon's on the menu here, Valdez.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily have to be, but that is the safer play, BNK. Maybe trying to make a statement and play with their waves while they can, at least. They have a lot of poke, right? So they can kind of just sit here and take the Hex Gates out if anything gets a little bit hairy. And Lucid's already half health. This is what I was talking about. Like you have this Yumi, but you're dealing with so many fed Poe champions. Showmaker dodges everything. As now, she's gonna go in and send it one last time. But Raptor surviving gets in. Flag and drags into the backline. Lucid creates a lot of space. The GA is popped, but I just think the wildlets are too heavy at this point in the game. As down will go Showmaker tries to make the play, and he does scoop up one. But that's only Vikla, and your Nexus is exposed. BNK looking like the much stronger team here in game number 1. And they want to send a message as well with the last minutes of gameplay as they're trying to take all of them out. But they'll just take down the Nexus and move ahead in the series 1-0.
Forest was way too big to fail. And even though there were some funny moments and Vikla did end up getting solo killed by Shiu in the side lane, they had a comp that had the global of that Talia. They took control of the map early. Their vision game was strong. And we talk about this team. We have talked about this team for so long as it's a team that ganks early, hyper-aggressive, almost LPL style. But in 2026, this team also macros, Valdez, and they just did not let go of the map.
내가 이거 좀 리스크지고 해볼게. 나 풀있거든.
나도 가인이라. 근데 이런 폭행하면 이기겠다. 야, 사형 기절한다. 사형 내가 맞을게. 내가 맞을게. 맞아. 아, 근데 이거 싸우자.
아재를 쭉 빠졌어.
싸우자. 나 가인이야. 싸울 거야. 아재를 와. 나 가인이야, 나 가인. 나 이기지 마.
앞라인 쳐봐, 앞라인.
나도 잡아봐. 나 살아. 근데
어라. 다 맞추면 끝날 듯. 나이스.
아, 싸우자. 나 펜타. 아, 맞다. 나 빨렸어.
끝내.